it's like giving coffee to a newborn baby because that's how it cleanses your receptors. It's, I had never experimented with many drugs like marijuana in high school. All through even college, I was bodybuilding. I went to school at St. Michael's in Winooski, Vermont, and I went into Mr. Vermont a number of times. I used to compete with Arnie List, who's from up there. He was a good friend. And I just, because of the bodybuilding, as you know, you stay away from the drinking and the drugs. So I pretty much went through my whole college experience without consuming, experimenting with drugs. And then I was into law school. I went to Boston College Law School. And it was the same thing. I wasn't competing then, but you pretty much stayed away from drugs. Then I got into I was hired by the district attorney's office in Middlesex County. And so, now I'm getting up into my 30s, and I haven't really done any drugs at all. I leave the district attorney's office, and I get a job with a law firm in downtown Boston, and I'm on my way to work at 8:30 in the morning, and a car blew a stop sign and broadsided my truck. And one thing I never forget to do is wear my seatbelt, but I didn't have it on that day. And I got ejected from my truck into oncoming traffic. And I was like in a catcher's stance coming up when I kind of came to, and the car struck me straight on. And that's the last thing I remember. I lost my spleen. My left patella tendon was torn, had to be repaired. I broke my right ankle. I had some head injuries. I broke my nose. And when I was in the hospital, I can remember them having the morphine drip. And they told me to hit the button as needed, I think every 6 or 8 minutes. I can't recall exactly how long. And I can remember hitting the button, and I was getting nauseous. It wasn't something that agreed with me at all. After 3 days, I was pressing that motherfucker like it was no tomorrow. Mm-hmm. They turned me into something that I had not been. Then in my treatment, they gave me 80 and 40 milligram OxyContin. I didn't even know what it was in 1999. And by the time I had heard the term hillbilly heroin and it was all in the news, it was too late. I was off to the races with it. And I had 1 million prescription bottles. A kid was at my house one time, and he was in the bathroom, and he came out and he said, "What are all these OxyContin doing here?" And I'm like, "They give me those for my accident, but I don't even take them because I don't feel them." He goes, "That's because they have this time-release coating on them." And he shows me you can wash it off under the sink. He washes off the green coating on an 80, and he crushes it up and makes a line out of it, and he snorts it. And I'm like, Are you out of your mind? I put something up your nose like that? And he goes, "Bro, at that point in time, my wife had passed away. And he's like, you need this right now." And, it's the last thing I needed. But I did it. And then I started a love affair that lasted, a decade with the OxyContin. And after that accident, my wife, Michelle, had nursed me back to health. Literally. And we had 2 kids, and my son, Anthony, was 17 months old. And Michelle had been having headaches, like really bad headaches. And she had an appointment on that Monday. And Sunday morning, the phone rang, and it was my daughter, Kiara, wishing me a happy Father's Day. And the phone woke Anthony up, and I took him downstairs, and I said, "Let Mommy sleep." So we went downstairs, and I made him breakfast, and I thought it was odd she was still sleeping because I knew people were going to come over the house. We bought a new house, and we went back upstairs to wake her up. When I moved the sheets, there was blood coming out of her nose, out of her ear. I'm sorry. I haven't talked about it in a long time. I rushed her. I called 911. I had hit her sister come over to take Anthony so we wouldn't have to see. I rushed to the hospital, and they shaved her head, and they operated, and trying to, because she had a brain bleed, a cerebral aneurysm. And I find out from people more and more that people have suffered this. I didn't even know it existed beforehand. And so we lost her that day. And I had already started, after the car accident I had previously, I had opened my own law practice rather than try to to go back and get another job because the firm I had been with had to let me go because I was out for so long. So I started my own law practice, and things went on, time went on. Eventually, you'll get on the drugs, off the drugs. Finally, I got off the drugs after numerous rehabs and everything. Then in 2016, I got rear-ended by a drunk driver. She was going 110 in her father's work van, and I was going 65. And I snapped my neck so bad that when I got to the hospital, I had to do a 4-level decompression infusion. I know I sent a picture over, and so that's what's in my neck right now. And then what did they do? Stop prescribing me the drugs again. So that's a long-winded way to tell you that I had first heard about Ibogaine when that happened. My sister, Trisha, she says, have you ever heard of Ibogaine? And I'm like, no, never. What? She goes, I was watching an episode of Special Victims Unit, and there was a heroin addict that they needed as an essential witness, and Dr. Lee took him over to Mexico and had this treatment with Ibogaine and brought him back in less than a week, and he had been, cured. And I guess that's what they showed in the episode. So as soon as I heard the name, I was voracious in my researching this, and so that's how it was that I came to seek the treatment.
And then when you took it, what does it do? What does it feel like?
Okay, so I was fortunate enough to see an episode with Dave Palumbo of RX Muscle where Guru Amin was on, and I contacted him, and he was a lifesaver for me. I went there and I got the test dose. So I had fasted, as he told me, was just drinking water. Everything that he said to do, came off any drugs that I was on, because Ibogaine is a great potentiator. Anything you take, and I would say if you were drinking coffee every day, that you drank, like, say, 2 cups of coffee, you couldn't drink a quarter of a cup of coffee that strength, right after your treatment, because it would make you sick. It's like giving coffee to a newborn baby, because that's how it cleanses your receptors.
Pat Project family, I don't want you guys to continue looking dusty in your old gym clothes. That's why we've partnered with Viore Clothing. You see, I'm guilty of not wanting to wear these gyms to work out because they feel so good. So you guys need to head over there and just go check them out. This is the Stratotech tee. It's so comfortable. And let me just let you guys out. Andrew, how can people get it?
Yes, guys, you guys got to head over to viori.com/powerproject. VUORI.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description below. Let's get back to the podcast.
So after that test dose, which I didn't feel that much from the test dose, which was 50 milligrams, he started to give me a regular dose of like 100 or 150. And just about every hour, he would ask me how I felt. 3 or 4 pills in, I was like, I need to lay down. I started to feel heavy. First, you feel like tingly and warm, and it's somewhat pleasant, but then it gets unpleasant. And when it gets unpleasant, you want to lay down, and things start happening. I know when I treated your brother Chris, he some of the things that happened, he kept hearing a buzzing. He's, what's that sound? What's that sound? I'm like, everybody hears that. It's in your head. That's, whatever's being mended up there, your receptors, it's in your head, man. It's not. And then he's laughing. I don't know what he's laughing about. He's telling me, you sound like Charlie Brown, man. And then he's like, when did you turn the TV on? He goes, shut the TV off. I go, bro, the TV's not on. It's just black. And he's looking at it like it's going, shh. It's not, man. I go, trust me. And so that's what happens. Like, funny things start to happen. And then, approximately every hour, you get like a, on your shoulder, and how you feeling? And you say how you feeling. How's the wave? Like, if the wave could be 1 to a 10. What wave you riding right now? Okay, I'm riding like a 6. Okay, here's another one. And then another hour goes by, and it just, you're not sleeping, but you're not doing anything. I'll tell you that. You're in a catatonic state where your mind you're coming inward, and I started to like see things from my past, when like things that would happen with my family, things that my parents decided were important enough to reprimand us on or punish us about. And, you know, the first time that I ever shoplifted when I was a little kid, the peer pressure that was involved. The first time I grabbed my father's gun out of his top drawer and decided it was a good idea to run around the neighborhood and play with it. Things like that were like very vivid dreams. And that some of them were pleasant, most of them were horrible, but the whole time your body was never in a restful state. It was like you were fighting to heal yourself. It was like an internal struggle, and that lasted, for me, it lasted 2 full days. Yeah.
Were you, so you mentioned that there's Ibogaine being taken like on the hour.
Yeah.
Were you taking Ibogaine every hour?
Pretty much every hour.
You didn't sleep?
All that time, I didn't, it looked like I was sleeping. And when I treat people, it looks like they're sleeping. I laid down, and honestly, it was like a roller coaster. I learned, because I didn't know, I'm not good with psychedelics. I didn't have any experience. One time we went to Ozfest, and somebody had the great idea of making a tea. So we drank it in the limo. Bad idea.
Wait, what kind of tea was it?
With psilocybin.
Oh,
so
okay.
somebody made, I'm sorry, I should have said, somebody made a mushroom, a mushroom tea with the psilocybin, and I don't think they had any idea what the strength of it was, because whatever they had in the bag, they just threw in, made a tea and mixed it with a Kool-Aid, and we're all sitting in the limo, and everybody's like, yeah. When I got there, I just remember hanging on. I had this huge friend, and I was hanging on to his back, and I'm like, if I lose this dude, they're never gonna find me. And they just walked around Ozfest, like through the crowd all day long, and every time I opened my eyes, everything was moving, and I'm like, this is not for me. I don't get what people like about this. And that's what would happen with the Ibogaine. If I opened my eyes, everything was moving. Oof. So after, and I had really no good concept of time, but I'm told that it was like 2 days in a row, and then Amin would say, you would think you want, like at that point, I'd only eaten some fruit. So it takes, and this happens with every person, just so people are aware. You don't have any real appetite, and you don't have a great desire to even drink water. But, you need to be hydrated. So I have multivitamins and minerals that you take ahead of time, and different things that can help calm your stomach down if you get, because you can imagine you're fasting and a root bark is in a capsule that's opening up in your stomach, and your stomach's going, what the fuck is this you just gave me? And it's just not pleasant. So some people get, and that's why I encourage people to fast, so they don't have anything to actually purge. And not everybody listens, but they learn the hard way when it comes up. And it's not good if they went and got Ibogaine and they lose it. So it's just better for everybody. But that whole experience of the catatonic state isn't something that I would call, or anybody I believe would call enjoyable in its totality. So if you watch YouTube and you see the ceremonies, you see the members of the Bwiti tribe. I mean, they're all painted up and they have their garb on, but most of the time they're just laying down. And I can tell you, I was laying on the bed, white-knuckled, hanging on like I'm on a roller coaster. And that's when I opened my eyes, that's what it felt like. So when Amin said, if you feel like getting anything to eat, like I'd swing my legs off the bed in the hotel room where we were staying, and I opened my eyes, and if everything was still moving, I'd swing them back, and I go, nope, not yet, and just lay back down. And I just rode it out so that...
How many hours was that?
I'm going to say that for me, it was like 3.5 days.
But what did it feel like? It was 3.5 days, but what did it feel like it was?
It felt like, it felt in time?
Yeah.
It felt that I had no concept of time. Like I had to ask him, what time, what day is it? I really...
Did it feel longer or?
It felt longer. It felt longer. Yeah, I was lost in like a time warp. And I can remember times when I wanted it to come back because I wanted to finish where I got interrupted. like for whatever reason, like it's just a dream. Like if you wake up from a dream, you might not remember it. And some of the things I was waking up and saying, "Hey, give me a pen. I want to write down what just happened because I don't think I'll ever remember it." And then I couldn't read anything I wrote later anyway.
Wow.
So I wrote a bunch of stuff down, and I wasn't able to really decipher much of it. But it definitely felt longer than it was, and it just, since I don't like that feeling of having no control over myself, to me it wasn't a pleasant experience. But other people have described it as a pleasant experience, that they liked it. And so everybody, that's the one thing that I know about this, is it's completely individual. How much people need to take, and it's all dependent on what their issues are and their body composition, how much of whatever substance they took. Like somebody that it's coming for straight depression, and somebody that's coming for an opiate addiction or a methamphetamine addiction or an alcohol addiction or any substance abuse addiction, they're going to need less. Generally speaking, they're going to need less. And I suggest, and that's all I'm doing is making suggestions based on what I've studied, but mostly based on what I've seen, because I was with Amin for 50 people before I ever ventured out on my own. And his forte is helping people as a diet coach. And in my opinion, from what I saw, because we were together for 2 years, that there's nobody that pays more attention to detail than him. And so he's gone back into what he loves, but I couldn't stop doing this, and I've tried to expand it. And I used to live in St. Croix, but when we had the hurricane, we had 2 hurricanes in a year. So I rebuilt the house on St. Croix, and I'm going to try and have people come there to consult them on being treated. But people like me to go to them most of the time.
Yeah, it's like
COVID.
It's illegal here in the United States, right?
It's right. That's why I tell everybody, and they have a paper they have to read and sign, that I'm strictly there to consult you.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel, because we continue to bring you peak content on this channel. Obviously, you guys are here. You guys watched the whole video. So like, comment, subscribe. All right? See you later.